Right, hello guys and welcome back to our second part of the dashboard creation. Right now we entered all the basic data that we need, but now it's time to enter the advanced data and all our variables that will be modified. So for example, for this question, we have variables that can be modified because it's the number of persons with a certain amount of depth. If we want to modify this value or the value in this question right here, since it's x. So the first thing I'll ask you guys to do is simply to write down a small number 1 here in the first question and a small number 2 right there in the second question. You'll understand a bit later why we'll do this. Alright, so the first advanced question that we want to answer is what's the average income per territory? And what we'll have to do now is really import all the data. So how we'll do this? The exact same way that we did here, but in this case we'll place everything down there. So let me show you what it's supposed to look like. So it's supposed to look something like this. So as you can see, you simply create the exact same thing as here. It's going to be the average income per territory. Then you will write down all your territories and then simply click on equal. And we will refer to the third question, which is here. As you can see, the average income per territory and all our answers are there. All right, when it's all done, the next thing that we want to do is answer the fourth question. Which is the average income per sector. Where exactly we will put it, once again, as I said, it's really to your imagination. But in my case, I want to put it there. So what I will do, I will simply insert some more cells here. All right. And I will add everything just here. Perfect. We'll make our graph a bit smaller because we don't need a graph that is that big. And then simply you can copy and paste everything here and just change the name. So as I said, our next question will be the average income per territory, per sector, sorry. The answer once again will be changed. So what we'll do, simply click on equal, and we'll come back here and select our answers to the next question. The answers are right there. So it's in our advanced part. And as you can see, we have health, construction, teaching, and everything. And simply enter the answers that are down there, which are our averages. As you can see, the dashboard is not very hard to make. Once again, it's really for you guys to be able to understand a bit more the data that we are entering. And the last one, general work, right there. All right, perfect. So right now we have all the data that we need. We need a bit more cells to be able to insert a graph. Right, the next step, we insert a graph. So once again, simply go on insert and we choose recommended chart. So it'll be the exact chart that we have. Perfect. So as you can see, we have our chart right there. Can make our cells bigger to have more space. Amazing. So right now we have our dashboard for all those for our first two advanced questions. Next thing we want to do is answer the two last questions, which are the percentage of people having higher total debts than yearly income. So we'll put everything here. So simply copy and paste twice. And the last question is the average age of people having more than a certain amount of money, dollar of net worth. All right. So what we'll do now is simply link our answers to the right cells on the database. We will simply click on equal and go to this answer, which will be our answer right there. So it's the percentage of people having higher total debts than their yearly income, which is 97%. And the last answer will be this one here. Here we go. All right, so this answer right there, we'll write a little tree to it. Perfect. Now it's time to put everything a bit more presentable. So all those cells that we don't need, we can simply merge them. We can also create a graph for this place here. Simply merge everything first. All right, perfect. So we can, as I said, we'll create a graph for this place here. So we'll insert another chart. Right, we can make a chart that looks like this. So it's gonna be a chart of maps, well, a map chart. Great, so as you can see, we have our series here. The more the map is dark, the more the wage is higher. And if the more the map is light, the less the wage is higher. So once again, you can choose the recommended chart that you want. All right, so last thing that we will do is add our variables. So the first variable is here. So number of persons with debts higher than X. So we can change the X. So we can change the first variable. So what we'll do, we'll simply write here variables. Perfect. Then we have our number 1, which will be there. Our number 2 here. And finally our number 3 here. All right, perfect. Right now, what we want to do, let's say, for example, I write down the number 50,000 here, or let's say 100,000. And I want this number to be linked to this number right here. So each time, let's say, for example, the debt value is 100,000, I want the number of persons here. So what will I do? I will link this cell with the cell in the database. So how I do this? Simply go back on the database, on the right question. So the question is here. Right there. All right, so we have our second question. Well, our fifth question, sorry, which is the number of persons with debts higher than. Here we have 20,000. So what we want to do is simply change this 20,000. We'll simply write down equal here, and it will be equal to this amount there. So as you can see, in the database, it will automatically change. So each time that I change my value here, let's say I write down 20,000, well, it's gonna change. If I write down 200,000, well, as you can see, the answer changes. Perfect. The second question will be here. So it's the number of persons having less than a certain amount on their mortgage. So how do we do this? We simply do the exact same thing. We come back there. Less than 30%. Since all the answers here are linked to this answer there, simply click on equal and we'll link it to this place on the database. So as you can see, it automatically changed the answer to 0. So let's say we write down 20. And don't forget to put it in percentage. So 20%. As you can see, it will adapt automatically. And finally, the last question. We will do the exact same thing. So we want the net worth of people. Simply come back on the database. On the last question. And simply select the amount. So in this case, on our last question, the average age of people having more than X amount of net worth, it's gonna be on the amount place, and simply click on enter. And each time you will change the net worth, let's say for example you want to put $1 million, the answer will adapt, and also it's gonna change on the database normally. As you can see, it changes automatically. So here we have it, and the answer will automatically adapt. So as you can see, this is the database, this is the dashboard. That's a dashboard, how it's supposed to look like. Once again, the dashboard, you can make it how you want. The real goal here is really to present the data, and you want it to be as easy to understand as possible. So as you can see, I made something very, very simple, nothing that hard, and nothing really hard to understand. As I say, my goal is really to present the data. It's maybe not the most beautiful dashboard that you ever saw, but once again, you understand pretty much easily the data, and if you want to modify some variables, well, you can do it just there. So as you can see, the second we enter on the dashboard, we have our number of men versus the number of women. We have the average age, average income. We have everything that we need. And instead of passing by and looking on everything on this database that is really complicated, as you can see, it's 500. We have a database of 500 persons. We can do it directly on the dashboard and understand absolutely everything from it. So this is why a dashboard is very, very needed when you create when you want to work with database. So that's it for the first project. Right now we created our first database. We did the whole database analysis with our huge database that we have. We created our dashboard to answer our questions. And so right now you know how to make a basic database analysis. So that's it for this project, and see you all in our next project when we'll work with a stock.